Hello, everybody. Welcome to the ninth episode of Collegeville Conversation. I'm your host, Jason Phelan. Now, just recently, the World Series has begun, and I brought a couple of guests to talk about it with me. Here we have Kyle O'Keefe.
How you guys doing?
Kyle Newman.
How's it going, guys?
And Noah Blasko.
What's up, everyone?
Now, these guys are all also sports super fans, especially baseball. Guys, what do we think about this World Series so far?
Last night, Kershaw threw a gem of a game. Tonight, I think Blake Snell is going to even up the series, though. I think he's going to go at least 6 innings strong, maybe tops 4 hits, and maybe 1 run, if that.
Kyle, your thoughts? Newman?
Yeah. Which one?
Newman.
Yeah, like he said, Kershaw pitched the ball really well last night. All the memes about him not being a good postseason pitcher went out the window. If he can do that again later down the line, that's going to make the Dodgers really much a favorite in the series. But like you said, I think Snellzilla is going to come out and throw a gem tonight to even the series at 1.
Kyle O'Keefe?
Game 1 was a really good game. I thought, like the other guy said, Kershaw pitched really well. I've always said Clayton Kershaw is like the Peyton Manning of football, of baseball. He's a great regular season pitcher. When it comes to postseason, he doesn't really shine. But last night he shined. And for Tampa, really, I thought they left Tyler Glasnow in there way too long. He threw 111 pitches in 5 1/3. I did not like the decision all by Kevin Cash. But Game 2 tonight, I think it's going to be a good game. I do expect the Rays to win tonight, but I think Dodgers are going to pull it out.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the year the Dodgers finally get over the hump and win their first World Series since '88. I think this is the team to do it. They have no excuse. They have too much talent.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Dodgers may be either 5 or 6 games. But real quick, I just wanted to talk about the Dodgers lineup tonight and how little experience they have against Blake Snell. In their career, Corey Seager, Justin Turner, and Will Smith have not faced Seager, or have not faced Blake Snell. The other people in the lineup have faced him a total of 28 times total, and 23 of those come from Mookie Betts, who is batting .304 against Blake Snell. And Betts, as we saw from this year, is doing incredible versus right-handed pitchers, but he is very much struggling against the lefty, so we'll have to see how that plays out tonight.
I have to agree.
Yeah, for as good as the Dodgers were the last 3 or 4 years, Mookie just puts them way over the top. Arguably could win MVP this year. Definitely going to be a big help for the Dodgers in this 7-game series.
Yeah, I think Noah outlined it. The Dodgers don't have much very experience facing Blake Snell, really. And as a whole, we're talking about Tampa Bay, they really don't have a lot of postseason really experienced baseball besides many of their guys, their first postseason appearance is this year. So you have to really give the Tampa Bay roster as a whole props, how far they made it this far with very little experience. And I think, Noah said it, it's going to be it's a different beast when you face Blake Snell with these Dodgers that they're going to have to hit up against.
I made a prediction. I agree. I made a prediction at the beginning of the season that I was thinking Kevin Cash would win Manager of the Year, or definitely at least be a contender for it. I knew I had the Rays going far in the postseason, but I honestly didn't have them going to the World Series because I, as well as many people, thought maybe the Yankees would, based off their acquisition of Garrett Cole and the fact that he fills a hole in their starting pitching, and just once again they couldn't do it.
Yeah, everybody thought that with the addition of Garrett Cole, he was going to come out firing like the same Astros pitcher he was last year. Obviously, you didn't see that in the postseason. But I think the Rays definitely take tonight. I want to say tonight they're going to win probably 5-2. That's what I'm going with for tonight.
5-2. Yeah, I would think around there. Do you guys have thoughts?
Yeah. Hey, Kyle. Sorry, go ahead, Newman.
You're good. I'm going to say Rays win 4-2 or 4-3. I'll say 4-3.
Who are the Dodgers pitching? Aren't they pitching an opener?
Goslin.
Yeah, Goslin. Okay, so probably, I think it's going to be a close game. I think maybe 6-4. 6-4 game, probably. 6-3 Tampa. Blake Snell probably going to pitch 6 innings, like Noah said, and they're going to go to their A-plus bullpen.
Snell has to come up big tonight. This is obviously any game in the World Series is a must-win game, but they can't fall 2-0 to this Dodgers team.
Yeah, obviously, if Bellinger gets hot tonight, then who knows where the series is going to go after homering in his past 2 games. Very big home runs, by the way. It's going to be hard for the Rays to catch up if the Dodgers do, in fact, go up 2-0 tonight.
Yeah, I was saying just like, echoing what Noah said, in sports in recent years, we've seen a lot of comebacks, right? I mean, we almost saw Houston almost came back against Tampa, and we just saw the Dodgers come back against the Braves 3-1. Listen, anything can happen in sports. We've all seen it. But being down 2-0 is definitely different, especially in postseason baseball like this Dodgers team has. They have a lot of experience, right? And if you're down 2-0 to this Dodgers team, and if you get Clayton Kershaw, the same Clayton Kershaw he's been, you better watch out. Because you got to figure Kershaw, if he pitches tonight, he's probably either going to pitch either game 4 or 5, depending on how the series goes. But yeah, I think Tampa, it's a must-win tonight for them. They really haven't really been down in this postseason, down at all 2-0 to anybody. So that's going to be a whole different territory of water for them if they are down 2-0 to the Dodgers. Because the Dodgers, they know that this is their best chance to win the World Series, and they got to try and capitalize on it now.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. If 2-0, they say 3-0 series is over. I think now if you're down 2-0, there's a good chance you probably aren't going to come back, especially if it's the Dodgers on the winning end of that. That team just unstoppable. Gonsolin really been solid for them all year long. I think he's going to pitch well again tonight, but again, Blake Snell on the other end will be interesting.
I agree. Now, last time the Rays were in the World Series, they lost to the Phillies in 2008. Love to see it. Now, how much different is this Rays team, would you say, compared to the Rays team in 2008? Because in 2008, they had a young rookie, Evan Longoria, wasn't really experienced. And this team, I think, is more pitching oriented than with their lineup, I would say.
Yeah, well, this lineup is a completely different lineup. I think maybe Austin Meadows and G-Man Choi are the only 2 starters right now that have playoff experience for the Rays in the past. So that's definitely going to be different. Definitely, pitching is definitely their main strength this year in the postseason with guys like Nick Anderson, Glasnow, who we saw last night, Snell, even Charlie Morton, who, as we know, in the postseason is a dominant pitcher. But, yeah, with a young core, going down 2-0 could be detrimental because, as we've seen in the past, teams that go up 2-0 are 73-14 in a 7-game series. So if the Dodgers win tonight, I do not like the Rays' odds of coming back.
I agree.
Yeah, like you said, the Rays lineup is full of young guns. Back then it was Evan Longoria, David Price, B.J. Upton, whole bunch of names. Now they got Willie Adames, Mike Brasso, Kevin Kiermaier, Austin Meadows. They are very much a team that relies on young talent, especially because Kevin Cash is the youngest manager in baseball since Ozzie Guillen back in 2005 to go to the World Series. That team is just unbelievable with how much young talent they produce. This year, I think they're going to be scary.
I think there's more. I think in 2008 there was more star. I think 2008 they had more star power. I think Tampa right now they have a lot of good solid B plus, players. When you look back at 2008 roster, like the other guys said, they had Evan Longoria. Yes, he was still young, but he was a solid A prospect back then. You had David Price, who was he was David Price. You've already said that was his prime. Then you had, B.J. Upton also was in his prime. James Shields was in his prime. So these guys, this team 2008, these guys were already in their prime. A lot of people didn't really expect Tampa to be in the World Series this year. A lot of people thought it'd be my New York Yankees, like Jason said in the beginning of the podcast. So I think this team's just younger, and I think we all thought this team was 1 year. We all thought the Rays maybe next year would be in the World Series. But again, this is a young team that's hungry and that they're excited to win. That's the big difference, I think, between the 2018 and 2020 team for Tampa.
I have to. Those are all great points. I have to agree with them. Now, I have another question. I think we should talk about. Where would a ring for Clayton Kershaw place him on the all-time pitchers list? You would have to think he would be a top 20 pitcher of all time if he's not already.
He's already up there in top 20.
Would you say top 15? Would you say top 10?
He's probably top 15, top 10 right now.
But what would a ring do for his legacy?
If he was, I have him probably at like number, just roughly think in my head, probably 12. Roughly, I think in my head right now. I think he is. I think if he gets a ring, I think he's probably up there in top 10. Listen, he's probably the best pitcher we've seen in probably all of our lifetimes. Probably, I think he's the best pitcher we've seen in my lifetime. I think. Listen, he's a great pitcher. I think he's one of the best pitchers of all time. The numbers show, at least in the regular season. Yes, he's had his bloopers in the postseason, but as I just said, right, he's a great player, great pitcher. I think he's probably top 10 if he gets at least one ring.
3-time Cy Young Award winner. Just imagine if the Dodgers didn't choke in the last 2 World Series. That would give him potentially 3 rings. Now, would you say he would be a better pitcher? If that were the case, would you say he would be, hot take alert, a better pitcher in franchise history than Sandy Koufax?
Oh, no. Sandy Koufax, he only played 12 years because he had the elbow problems, but him and Don Drysdale were just unbelievable, unhittable. Kershaw definitely could go. Don Sutton, too. Kershaw could wind up there someday, but right now I think he needs to win that ring. And then we can start talking about that. But he's definitely on the right track.
Right.
There's definitely a case for a Clayton Kershaw being top 10 all-time starting pitchers. Because if you look at just some of the hardware he's earned in his career, as Jason said, 3-time Cy Young, he's only one of 16 players to win the NL pitching Triple Crown, which is wins, strikeouts, and ERA. He's only one of 2 pitchers to win the MLB ERA 4 times consecutively, and he's only one of 10 pitchers to win the NL MVP award. So there's definitely a spot for him on that top 10 list. A ring would definitely help maybe put him in the top 7 or top 8.
Definitely.
As he's only had 2 seasons where he's been above a 2.9 ERA. In his rookie year, his ERA was 4.26, and in 2019, his ERA was a 3.03. He's had 4 different times he's had an ERA in the ones. I think a ring definitely helps him in the top 10 if he's not there already. I probably have him at 11 or 12.
11 and 12. He's definitely in the Dodgers' all-time rotation. Definitely.
That's good.
Koufax is the ace. Would you put him above Don Drysdale as a number 2 starter all time for the Dodgers? I think I would.
I think as of now, yes. A ring solidifies that he's the number 2, yes. Mm-hmm. But right now, I think you could make a case for either way, 2 or 3.
Now, do we have any more thoughts about the World Series or the season overall?
It was definitely a really interesting year with what's been happening in the last 6-7 months. Major League Baseball, they did a good job with getting restarted and ensuring the safety of their players and the fans at home. I'd like to see what they'll do next year in the wake of the pandemic, with the collective bargaining agreement expiring after next year. I think it'll be interesting to see the changes that get made to the next CBA because of what happened in this one.
No, that CBA could include a designated hitter for both National and American League.
It should happen. That should happen.
It shouldn't.
Who said it shouldn't?
I did.
Why?
I don't know. Pitchers, yeah, they're paid to pitch, but I mean, part of baseball is you got to hit too. Plus, if you leave it just the American League, it provides that distinction where if you play in an American League park, the National League team has to adjust, and if you play in a National League park, the American League team has to adjust their lineup.
That's this. Ryan Howard's right now in his prime with the Phillies. Okay, Rhys Hoskins is going to start first. Would you rather see Aaron Nola hit, or would you rather see Ryan Howard hit?
Oh, I mean, there's no comparison. Absolutely,
that is comparison. Though you have to. I'd rather see a hitter hit than a pitcher.
I think that the designated hitter in the National League would extend Ryan Howard's career by at least 5 years.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, it would extend. We even could look at people like Justin Bohr, who moved overseas to because his time was limited, as he saw, because he already went through some of the AL teams, figured he wasn't going to get re-signed by the Angels, and went over to play in Japan because he thought, well, if the NL doesn't do the all DH, then I don't know where I'm going to go. So if the NL does that, maybe he comes back, has a turnaround year, and he's back.
Speaking of overseas, did you guys know that Ichiro nearly played 30 years of professional baseball? Like, his professional career was almost 30 years. That's insane.
Unbelievable.
I mean, he's one of the best players of in the world in baseball.
Yeah.
So who do you guys have as the NL MVP right now? There's definitely some there's definitely some choices out there. I think right now mine is Freddie Freeman.
I have to go with Freeman too. Like, he beats Tatis in most categories. Tatis he's got batting average on him, doesn't he? Last time I checked.
I think so. I think he's batting average. I think that's it, though. I think everything else is
pretty close.
No, Freeman's got him in batting average. Freeman's batting .341. He's the third highest in the league. Behind Soto and DJ LeMahieu. Or DJ LeMahieu first and then Juan Soto.
So, yeah, it's pretty close.
Freddie Freeman's got to be the guy. I would go with him. I think Freddie Freeman Tatis Jr., but I think Freeman should get it. I think Tatis Jr. is going to get it just because he's more marketable. But, yeah, I think it should go to Freeman.
Tatis Jr. is like... Sorry, Kyle, were you about to say something?
No.
Yeah, real quick, I was going to say, my heart wants to say Tatis, but I think the fact that the Padres left a little bit on the table near the end of the season means Freeman's going to get it.
Mm-hmm. I was about to say, I think Tatis is like the Luka Doncic of the MLB.
Yeah, it's a good comparison.
New talent, very good.
I think the only reason they could give it to Tatis is the home run tally, because he did beat Freeman in that category. But in hits and average, Freeman has Tatis beat. So it will be interesting to see how they vote. And then I think out of the AL, I think Shane Bieber wins both Cy Young and AL MVP.
He's definitely got Cy Young locked up.
Absolutely. Now, who do we think wins National League Rookie of the Year? Because there wasn't really one standout guy like there had been in years past. There was a bunch that could easily make a case.
I have a list right here of all my predictions before the season. My awards predictions were before the season. AL MVP, I thought Trout was going to win it again. NL, I had Acuna Jr. Cy Young for the AL, I thought Garrett Cole was going to win. For the NL, I thought DeGrom was going to take it. And for rookie of the year, I thought for the AL, Wander Franco. And for the NL, Mackenzie Gore. I was wrong.
I mean, those are good. That's a good preseason.
Yeah,
Pre-season before picks prediction.
Yeah.
Well, one of my picks that I missed horribly on was I thought Joe Girardi was going to win NL Manager of the Year.
At the beginning of the season, it wasn't a bad shout.
It wasn't, but
AL Rookie of the Year. Is Teoscar Hernandez a rookie or no?
No, he's been out for 40 years.
Okay. He was going to be... I forgot if he was a rookie or not.
Do we think Alec Baum wins Rookie of the Year?
I think he has a case. I think he's got a good chance.
He definitely has a case. No, you know what? I'm going with Kyle Lewis from the Mariners for AL Rookie of the Year.
That's a good one, too. Yeah, it's a good one.
I like it. I like that.
Kyle Lewis, you got a few. You got Luis Robert from the White Sox. You got Kyle Lewis. And I don't know if Joe Adele played enough games to be eligible for Rookie of the Year. So we might see him next season.
One thing's for sure, there was definitely no shortage of rookie talent this year.
Oh, no. It's one of the best classes of rookies since 2018, I believe.
Yeah, definitely very high ceiling with a lot of these rookies, like Boobie Bob, Kyle Lewis, all those guys.
Mm-hmm. Now, the offseason, the number one priority I want to see the Phillies do is obviously re-sign JT, because we let go a stud prospect in Sixto Sanchez in hindsight now. And I don't know why they haven't even made an attempt to re-sign him already. Like, another team like the Mets is probably just going to throw a lot of money at him, and he's probably going to take it.
I think the Phillies will get him back. The Phillies, they have a big offseason, right? I mean, they need to get JT re-signed. You got to re-sign Didi Gregorius. You got to get those two things done. You got to find some bullpen arms for that bullpen, and you got to find some starting pitching, because the pitching was just horrendous this year for the Phillies. Jake Arrieta was awful. He was just a name. Really, only pitcher they had was really Aaron Noah, and everyone else would just come in and just blow the games for the Phillies. So they got to do those. If they can do those three things, find more pitching, sign Didi Gregorius and JT Realmuto, the Phillies can be right up there, back in the top of the NL, trying to go fight again for a World Series. Man,
I'm so happy that Jake Arrieta is a unrestricted free agent. I hope we just let him walk.
Yeah, I can't see them bringing him back. He's just he's a joke. He's a joke.
We really
He's past his prime.
Yeah, we thought we were getting Cy Young Jake Arrieta.
Yeah, no. Well, how was he now? He's what, 34?
He's getting older. Yeah.
34, 35?
Around
Somewhere in
there.
that range.
I did forget, Brendan McKay also made a case for Rookie of the Year in the AL, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I wouldn't even be surprised if Carter Kieboom wins it from the Nationals. And Gavin Lux is considered a rookie still, too. So there's definitely a lot of potential for Rookie of the Year candidates.
Newman, you look like you got a lot of thoughts on this.
Yeah, about the Phillies offseason, I think this is going to be one that is the make or break point for their rebuild. They haven't made playoffs since 2011.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be the year where if they don't win, they're going to say, we got to tear it down again and start over. Or if they make it in the playoffs, it's going to be the year where they keep pushing towards that goal of getting another ring for Philly. I think the big priorities this offseason should be, 1, re-signing JT. 2, get bullpen help. That's going to be the big thing, because that was their Achilles heel all season long. And I wouldn't be surprised if they can re-sign Didi for cheap, because he had a bit of a down year. The market might be a little slow this offseason. It was still reeling from the pandemic. Guys might be hesitant to sign because they're going to have to move to a new place. And that's going to add a whole other level to of what they have to consider. I think he's going to find the market's going to be really slow, and not many teams are going to want to sign players because of all the revenue they lost. I think they might be able to get him for less than what they signed him for this year.
I would have to agree. Of course, like you said, with the pandemic and the fact that there was not a lot of attendance up until now in stadiums, that teams lost a lot of revenue, and that's going to take a big hit on not just the MLB, but every single league's salary cap. And but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they can do this financially.
Yeah, I think this offseason is going to be a slow offseason. I think a lot of teams are not going to sign many big star players just because of how much revenue these teams lost, and Major League Baseball lost as a whole due to the pandemic of not getting the ticket sales money. I think I saw somewhere, I think maybe that's you, Jason, I think you shared on social media on LinkedIn that for there was a stretch of time was the sports industry losing $93,000 per minute. So, I think this is going to be a slow off season. I feel bad for any free agent going into free agency right now, but it's going to be a slow off season for sure.
I appreciate you referencing my article, Kyle.
You're welcome. Of course, anything for you. Anything for you.
I think one of the biggest teams to get hit by the free agent market is the Mets. Mets are losing upwards to 10 to 15 players, while the Phillies have to work out maybe 8 deals unless, well, obviously the big two, like you guys said, were Didi and Real Muto. While there's Brandon Workman, who knows if they're going to sign him back, Jose Alvarez. But the Mets are losing Betances, who is a player option, Cespedes, Robinson Chirinos, and just some other big names there. Stroman, who knows where Stroman going to end up? He had a bit of a down year. Who knows what's going to happen with Marcus Stroman?
I wouldn't mind him in Philly. Take him on a prove-it deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be a nice little site for him to be.
He can't be worse than any they had now. This past year.
I could also see them making a run at Sean Doolittle, too, if the Nationals do not sign him back.
That wouldn't be bad for them.
There are definitely some good relievers on the market for the Phillies.
Yeah, there's no excuse for them to not at least go out and get a few. I was going to say one, but no, they need a few. They need a whole bullpen.
Yeah. The Phillies definitely do need some bullpen help. Like I would think of how we outlined. We've seen it now, right? The Rays, why are they in the World Series? They have a great bullpen. Houston, when they won the World Series in 2017, besides them cheating, they had a great bullpen. The Red Sox, they had a great bullpen. You have to have a good pitching, right? In football, it's defense wins championships. In pitching and baseball, your pitching, your bullpen, really, that's like defense, same thing. Defense wins championships, right? And I think teams are finally starting to realize that, look, we need to have good pitching. Yes, home runs are great for the regular season, but home runs come off when pitchers, when pitchers throw a mistake. And when it gets to the postseason, pitchers don't throw many mistakes. They are every little pitch counts. So I think that's why a lot of teams are going to put more emphasis on the pitching.
That's true. There's a lot of teams throughout history that had great lineups, but it's just they didn't have the pitching to get the job done.
Yeah, they didn't have the pitching. The pitching is, you gotta have good pitching. You need, I think, just especially with this, every era of baseball has been different, right? We talked about Sandy Koufax earlier, right? When he would just go out there and pitch 120 pitches a day, then pitch 3 days later. Now we're seeing these pitchers only throw, like Kershaw, only threw 78 pitches because of the analytics. So pitching is becoming more of a need in baseball, kind of like how football, wide receivers are now becoming more of a need. having good explosive plays. In baseball, you have to have you gotta have a good bullpen, otherwise you're not going to make it.
That's right.
I want to get your guys' opinion on something. Your top 5 shortstops in the major leagues right now, who would it be?
Right now?
Right now.
Because I have a point to this if you guys do not have this one person in there right now.
Man, right now, I would say Correa's got it. I would say Correa's probably in that list.
Reluctantly.
I would say Corey Seager's probably in that list. I would say Lindor, Trevor Story, and Fernando Tatis Jr. That would probably be my top 5 people. Those 5.
Is that in like any order, or
that's just any order? I would have to really think hard about an order, but I definitely think that's the top 5. I'm a big Trevor. I know Noah's a big Trevor Story guy. I like Trevor Story's game a lot.
I like his game too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, which brings up my point. Where do you think Anderson Simmons is now a free agent? Where could you see as a potential signing spot for him?
He's got a cannon.
He's great on the field.
He's a highlight game.
He's probably the best defensive shortstop, if not, he's top 3 defensive shortstops in the game right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he just his bat's is not as good. He definitely has a great glove. Where can I see him going?
Yeah. Because if the Phillies do not sign Didi back, I could see the Phillies making a push for Simmons and bringing him to the East Coast.
Yeah. I could see that. I think if they don't re-sign Didi, they're going to just find a guy to fill a spot for a few years until Bryson Stott is ready to come up, which could be like if Phil Gosselin or someone like that. Just a guy to fill a spot until they get someone else.
Phil Gosselin, the Malvern Prep product.
Yeah.
I think teams need shortstop. I think the Brewers, they need a shortstop. Probably, I think it's one team is a possibility that can use somebody. I'm trying to think. Maybe the Marlins. I don't know if Marlins have a shortstop a lot. I figured they did, but I think I know the Brewers need one. I think he's definitely going to have a market, though. I think Philly could be another possibility, too, if they don't sign back Didi. But I think that Didi's going to be cheaper, I think.
It all depends on the price that Didi wants per year, though.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe another team needs a shortstop. I know, like, some of the bad teams, they need shortstops. I mean, the Pirates, they need a shortstop. The Orioles, they need a shortstop.
The Orioles, Jose Iglesias is a free agent also this year.
Yeah.
So if they don't decide to go with him, Simmons could be going there too.
Yeah.
It is definitely going to be one of the most interesting off seasons we've ever seen in the major leagues.
I agree.
Do you think Didi's going to want more or less to come back to the Phillies?
More.
Definitely.
He's going to want more.
He had a pretty good year this year, I think.
I mean, he batted, what was he? I'm trying to think, this year he batted, 284? I mean, he had 284, ton of home runs, 40 RBIs. He had a good year. I think he's getting up there in age. He's 30. He's slowly getting out of his prime. He made, $12 million this year, was it? Right?
I think so, around there.
Yeah, so he's going to want more. He's going to want more money than $12 million, I think. Is he going to get it? I'm not really sure. I don't think so.
Also, Harper and Real Muto, they both had really hot starts to the year. They would have easily been all-stars if there was an all-star game this year. I think Harper has been living up to his contract a little bit. Like, he's putting up the on pace 30 home run, 100 RBI seasons. Plus, he does hustle on the base paths. He's basically giving you everything you could ask for from him.
I wouldn't be surprised if, like we said, if the NL does adopt the DH, he could be the Phillies DH in the future. Or you could even see him ending up at first base at some point as he gets older. Just as his legs start to wear down. Would need to work on the glove a little bit to play first base, but I see no reason he couldn't become that kind of guy.
Yeah, probably like the 7 or 8 year mark of his contract. I could see that's when they might start moving him around. As long as his swing is still the swing that he has and it doesn't switch up. Because obviously, if, God forbid, there's an injury that happens, like Ryan Howard, where he is no longer able to like use his lower body, that could change how they play him as a whole.
I agree. Man, Ryan Howard's injury just killed me because he was my favorite player growing up. But you know, at the time, that contract was well deserved.
Oh, of course.
But I tell you, Ryan Howard could have been a Hall of Famer. What did he finish with, like 380 career home runs?
Yep.
Yeah, I think something like that.
He really could have been a Hall of Famer.
He didn't have that injury. Oh, he'd have been probably 450, somewhere close to there.
500, yeah.
Yeah. I tell you, you will not meet a nicer human being than Ryan Howard. Such a nice guy.
Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting what the Phillies do when Bryson Stott comes up, like how they structure things with the field. Like Kyle, you said, if there was an NLDH, Bryce Harper would likely be it for the Phillies. Or like you said, he could play first base, but I could see them playing Bohm at first base too, like they have before.
Well, I think Bryce Harper's probably more towards lean to the DH. I'll tell you right now, I think the DH is going to probably either happen in the 2021 season or the 2022 season across all the major leagues. But let's talk about this. What did you guys think of the playoff format this year? Should the MLB keep that playoff format, or should they stick with what they have been doing, where it's only 10 teams instead of the total of 14? I think it's you, Noah, or it's one of our friends who loves the one game wild card. I can't remember.
I love it.
Yeah, that was you.
I love it.
Yeah, I know Noah loves the one game wild card. Just been talking of him off this podcast. What do you guys think about if they should keep this format or not?
I think the format was good this year, but honestly, it could be either or for me. I would prefer 14 teams in the playoffs just because it's more baseball and more of a chance that the Phillies could get in. But that's just what I would prefer.
I think it was good for this year being with the loss of revenue. Playoffs are big money. And this year was the year to mess around with pretty much anything and everything, just to see what works, what doesn't, because it was a weird season. I'm not a huge fan of it overall. Like Noah, I like that one game wild card. I don't know. I think this year, next year, like they're doing it, perfect time to play around with it. And if it seems to be a popular option, then stick with it. If not, just go back to the 10 teams like before.
Oh, what are your thoughts?
Bring back the one game wild card.
Yeah,
that's all I gotta say.
I think if they can somehow keep the one game wild card and have the 14 team format, I think I would like that. I think we're going
multiple one game wild cards.
Yeah, if they do multiple one game wild cards, I think that'd be awesome. I think people like the fact that if there is more teams, that means more baseball. That means whatever it is, more football, more basketball, whatever. So I think if they did the multiple one game wild card, more money, better, more TV ratings. I think it's going to happen. I think they're going to expand it. It all just matters that if they're going to do the one game playoff, because a lot of people say baseball should not come down to one game. That's the flip side of the argument for the one game playoff.
No, it should come down to one game because that's when you have to play your absolute best.
Well, no,
no room for mistakes.
I agree. I agree 100%. No, I'm just saying the flip side of why people would disagree is because they say, "Oh, we play a marathon; it should come down to one game." But I 100% agree with you.
What was it? 2014 when I believe it was the Athletics and was it the Royals or the Angels where we had that insane comeback in the late innings. Mm-hmm. Like with a 3-game series, you don't get that excitement because you have to go out there the next night and play another game.
That's Exhibit A of why the one game wild card is just so good because when like you said, Noah, when you have one game, then you have to lay it all out there.
Yeah, look at it this way. Last year, Nationals, 1-game wild card. They win it. If it's a series, who knows if they even go on, win another game in that series. The Brewers win, we get Astros as repeat champions.
Yeah.
If 1-game format, it all came down to that eighth inning. Like, you don't get that excitement with a series unless it goes 7 games. Then it does come down to that 1 game. But the 1-game wild card was the best thing for baseball in the postseason.
I agree, 100%.
I agree.
That's another reason why football, that's because football's only 16 weeks. For that 1 game, it's that deciding factor. So I definitely 100% agree.
Yeah, you got to play your best. No mistakes.
Could you imagine if the Super Bowl was like a best-of-7 series?
Oh, my God, that'd be ridiculous. That would be ridiculous. Like, you can't start the same quarterback. You have to have, like, 4 different quarterbacks.
You have to have 5 quarterbacks.
Play it 7 days in a row. Like, who's going to want to watch 7 days? Well, maybe people will watch 7 days worth of
I would.
balls. But by game 4, if it's like 3-0 and you know that everybody's tired, it's not going to matter.
Yeah. Might as well put the bench guys in, the practice squad.
Honestly. Put Trace McSorley out there.
Oh, my gosh, the famous guy.
But anyway, I do want to bring up the Hall of Fame ballot for next year.
Okay.
So next year will be Schilling and Clemens and Bonds' 9th year on the ballot along with Sosa. Any chance that one of those 4 guys get in next year?
You see, It's an interesting case. Bonds' voting has gone up every single year he's on the ballot. He got really close last year. Schilling, he's been kind of held out for his political beliefs, but he was a great pitcher. He was a great pitcher in his day. But honestly, I can't see any of them getting inducted in at the end of the day.
What's Bonds' percentage at now? I know it's going up. What is he at?
60.7.
60.8. He needs, 75, right?
Yeah, 75. Yep. And you only get 10 chances.
I don't think
this is his 9th out of 10 chance. Maybe next year he'll get it, but I don't know if they'll put him in.
I don't know if they saw the rumor. Earlier this year, there was a little rumor going around that Bleacher Report, other sources were saying that the Giants would sign him for a 1-year contract, have him play, because what that does, it then reinstates his additional 10 years that he can get in. So if the Giants did that, that would be pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bonds will get in, though. I think Bonds will eventually get in because you do have people out there, like someone on this call, thinks he's one of the greatest players of all time, one of the best.
He's one of the best hitters of all time.
That.
He's one of the greatest hitters of all time.
Of all time.
Kyle Newman. So let's think of this. Is Barry Bonds the greatest hitter of all time?
One of them, yes. Top 3.
We'll start with Newman because we already know his answer.
Kyle, your thoughts?
I think pre-steroid Barry Bonds was one of the best all-around offensive players of all time. However, again, pre-steroid means while taking steroids. Like, there was a time where he wasn't and then he was. So, for me, I think it kind of taints the whole thing. Obviously, you've got to have talent to hit as many home runs as he did. I just think he did it dishonestly, and that kind of puts a sour taste in my mouth for him.
I could definitely see where you get that from, but my biggest point right now and why I believe he's one of the best hitters of all time, 75% of the league was on steroids at the time when Barry Bonds was playing. He was better than everybody beforehand, just not as many home runs. He still had the average, the hits, he had everything. Then when he started taking them and being way better than everybody else, that's when we saw the records getting broken. And that record will stand for the longest of time. I don't know if anybody else is going to break it.
I thought Pujols was going to break it.
He slowed down hard.
He really
I
did.
think A-Rod could have broke it if he had a couple more years in him. Because he's at, 697 now?
Something
Right?
like
Yeah, I would have. If I was A-Rod, I wouldn't have retired until I got at least 700. Like, why would you stop at
The
696?
Yankees forced him.
Yeah, they released him, but he signed with the Marlins for like 5 days.
Yeah.
But he also took steroids too.
Yes. But he's
Yeah.
like Barry Bonds, he's still one of the greatest players ever.
Still one of the best
Without a
hitters of all
doubt.
time because he was so much better than everybody else at the time who was doing it.
Even pre-steroids, Bonds and A-Rod were still
Oh, yeah.
amazing. I think the greatest hitter of all time is Pete Rose, personally. But, again, Bonds is one of those. Bonds, Rose, and A-Rod are one of those guys that I think can hit in any era and still be as great as they were, even back in the dead ball era.
Here's my take on the steroid era and the Hall of Fame. You just can't act like it didn't happen. Like,
Oh, right, of course. It did happen. There was a point where it did happen.
but like, and it was also the time where baseball was at its most exciting because of that.
Exactly.
Like, are you just gonna act like those players never played?
We wouldn't have got the home run race.
Right.
We wouldn't have got one of the best 30. It's a 30 for 30, right?
It definitely
Long ball
is.
summer.
Long ball summer.
Yeah, we would not have gotten one of the best 30 for 30s of all time if that didn't happen. Stadiums were filling out weeks in advance because Mark McGwire was coming to town, or Sammy Sosa was coming to town.
And what did these guys do that people love? They hit the home runs, right?
They hit long home runs. Not just home runs. They
Long
killed the
ones.
ball.
And that is part of the reason why in Major League Baseball, Newman, I know you don't like it, but that's one of the reasons why they're going to bring back the universal DH. Because people love offense. They want to see the dingers. They want to see the home run.
The ladies
Dude,
love the long
there's-
ball.
What's that?
The,
Chicks
lady,
dig
the
the long
ladies
ball.
love the long ball.
Chicks dig the long ball. That's
Chicks
right.
dig the long ball.
People want to see the long ball.
But look at it this way. Pre-Sammy Sosa, if you go to Wrigley Field, there were no seats out on the buildings in left field.
Yeah.
Sammy Sosa comes to town, people are putting lawn chairs up there before they actually built the bleachers. Sammy Sosa comes to town, and then people are getting more seats. Like, people were catching home runs out there.
And if you look at the MLB's viewership and ratings by year, you saw in 1998. That's when the home run race happened. Every game McGwire and Sosa played in, it was at least 20 million viewers per game in the regular season.
Yeah, look at the ticket revenues from when they were both playing against each other. Like, look at games from Wrigley when the Athletics were in town, or it was the Cardinals at that time for McGwire, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Cardinals. Look at when the Cardinals and Cubs play each other in Wrigley and then in St. Louis. The numbers phenomenal. Even, why do you think so many people bought kayaks out in San Francisco during Barry Bonds' career?
McCovey Cove.
Exactly. Even in Pittsburgh. Because when he came to town, people were out on the river waiting for a ball to get as a souvenir. It's waterlogged. Who cares? It was hit by Barry Bonds.
Yeah, and the steroid era, for what baseball went through 4 or 5 years before the home run race with the 94-95 strike, the home run race was the best thing to happen to baseball. Brought it back, pretty much saved the game because of what had happened. Then when it came out, I think it just put baseball right back in that spot where they were, where the fans weren't happy with the league for
a while, and then as the new kids came around, as they would say, started coming back.
Speaking of Barry Bonds, I just saw this on Instagram scrolling through. Today was the 2002 World Series where Bonds hit that ball that still never landed against the Diamondbacks. I don't know if you guys remember talking about that.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
That ball was absolutely hammered.
The ball
sure.
said that they don't know if it landed yet.
No, it's probably flying over my house right now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but I was scrolling through. That happened 18 years ago today.
That ball might be a satellite by how high and how far he hit that.
Yeah, he crushed that.
One more thing. So we got a lot of interesting names on the ballot next year for the first year on the ballot.
We do.
Out of these
Yes, we
four, who do you think has the best chance to make it? Mark Bueller?
do. Mark Burley, you mean?
Burley, yeah, not Bueller. Wow. Burley, Torrey Hunter, Shane Victorino, or Grady Sizemore.
I think
Those are four of the most interesting names I see on this list right now.
I think Torrey Hunter has the best chance out of those four, but Mark Burley's perfect game puts him up there. But I would take Torrey out of those four.
Okay.
I don't think any of them are first ballot, but I agree with Jason. I definitely think one. I think Torrey Hunter and Mark Burley are going to be in. I'm not sure about Shane Victorino. I forget the other name you said.
Grady Sizemore.
Yeah, I don't know if they're both going to get in.
Also, Kyle Newman, your boy's on the ballot next year.
Who's that?
Aaron Harang.
Aaron
Harang.
So is Dan Ugla.
Aaron Harang's a big dude in person.
There are a lot of interesting names on the ballot for next year. For first ballot.
CJ Wilson's on the ballot.
CJ Wilson, Skip Schumacher is on the ballot.
The associate manager of the Padres, Skip Schumacher.
Nick Swisher.
AJ Burnett. I don't even know if he's going to get in.
He's not getting in.
I don't think he's get in, but Hunter probably should get in, but I don't think he does.
Not first ballot. Maybe like fourth or fifth.
I don't know. Even then, I don't think he gets in at all. He's just he
was decent in his career. Like he does have some of hardware to his name.
Gloves, 300, 400 home runs. I don't know. I just think he got really overlooked by a lot of players, especially that he was at the end of the steroid era.
And next year, it's what's his face? Next year, Jimmy Rollins is going to be is eligible for the Hall of Fame.
I think Jimmy Rollins gets in with this class.
Oh yeah, you know what? Rollins is going to do what Jeter did not and get in unanimously.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Rollins is a better shortstop than Derek Jeter.
Let's get into this.
I will debate that till the day I die. That Jimmy Rollins is a better shortstop than Derek Jeter.
Yeah, in some ways, yes. Other ways, no.
The way I look at it, the biggest thing I have is that if you put Jimmy Rollins on the Yankees and put Derek Jeter on the Phillies, Rollins is a first ballot Hall of Famer 7 out of 7 days of the week. It's the name of the Yankees in the period that they went through when Jeter was on the team, all the World Series that they won when he was there. If you put Rollins on that team with the World Series, with all the plays and everything, Rollins is a first ballot Hall of Famer and Jeter's not.
Basically, if you do anything memorable with the Yankees, you'll be remembered forever in baseball lore. Jimmy Rollins has the one thing Derek Jeter doesn't. That's an MVP trophy.
Yeah, and you know what, Jeter? All right.
Jimmy Rollins has a ring.
Here comes the bias. Let's hear the Yankees bias.
All right, so let me just say this, okay?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
The man's got 5 World Series. The man's got 5 Gold Gloves. The man's got the World Series MVP. Let's go with that. The man has a 5-time Silver Slugger. Oh, by the way, and he has a better average than Jimmy Rollins, and it's not even close.
Oh no, I know it's not close. But look, I'm just saying, if you were to put Jimmy Rollins on the Yankees, what did they play? Like Jimmy Rollins played 1 year longer than Jeter, 2 years if that.
Jimmy Rollins played 15 seasons and Jeter played 20.
Yeah,
okay, Jimmy Rollins. Jeter retired how many years before? He retired 14.
14. Rollins retired in 16. I'm sorry. Okay. Rollins played 17 years. Jeter's played 20.
Yeah, Jimmy Rollins started his career in 2000. He retired in 2016.
Yeah, so let's just say during that time, flip the roles basically. Jeter goes to the Phillies and Rollins goes to the Yankees. If they accomplish the exact same stats they have right now, but Rollins has 5 rings on his fingers, Rollins is first ballot, Jeter maybe first ballot.
But you don't know if Rollins is going to would help them win 5 championships. Derek is one of the most clutch players ever to touch the planet Earth.
Yeah, he is, but Rollins had the defensive plays.
So did Jeter. Jeter had the jump throw.
Okay, it's one play.
All right.
Yeah, I will say he did not need to be there for the flip. Giambi would have been out. That ball would have got there. If anything, he slowed it up by grabbing it over here and throwing it around his body. He slowed that ball up.
You're lucky we only have 4 minutes left. Okay, you're lucky we only have 4 minutes on this podcast.
No, that ball was going to get there. Giambi was out.
No, I can extend it.
Let me tell you something. No matter what, this man is wrong. He's biased. He's a Rockies fan. He calls himself a Yankee fan too, but really, he just doesn't like the Yankees. Okay, he's just a Rocky fan.
No, I do enjoy watching Yankees baseball. I feel that so let's flip it exactly. So Rollins has the exact same stats he has now, and Jeter has the exact same stats he has now.
Yeah.
But Jeter gets 1 ring, and Rollins gets 5. Nothing changes. Nobody other stats change except Rollins has 5 rings. Jeter has 1. do you consider Rollins first ballot?
Yes, he's the first. Jimmy Rollins is the first ballot no matter what.
No, I'm just saying. If Rollins, they should both be first ballot.
They both will be first ballots. I do not see Jimmy Rollins not getting in. I think Jimmy Rollins is going to get in first ballot.
If he doesn't, it's a sham.
But Jimmy Rollins has nothing on you defensively, maybe, and speed. Jeter was the better hitter, the better teammate. He was more clutch.
MVP.
Jeter has one in the World
Series. Jimmy Rollins has he has a 2020 season. And then I want to compare 2006 seasons too. Jimmy Rollins hit 25 home runs, 83 RBIs. He did not make the All-Star game. Jeter hit 14 home runs, 97 RBIs. He made the All-Star game.
It's a sham.
The Yankees name carries a lot of weight.
It was fan voting back in that day. Like, I know, like, but, like, still, that's, like,
I think fan voting is a sham.
People from New York. Oh, yeah. Derek Jeter's on the ballot, vote him in.
Yeah, Jimmy Rollins should get in. But it just I just dropped the stats on you. Jeter has better numbers. Well, I can argue all the numbers all day, and I'd still win the argument.
In 2006, Jimmy Rollins was robbed of an All-Star game. Who was the shortstop that made the roster in 2006 for the All-Stars from the NL?
You would have to think it's Nomar Garcia-Parra. That would be my guess.
Was he in the AL at that time?
No, he was on LA.
So the total for call, if I had to guess.
I'm gonna have to fact check myself.
At that point?
Might have come up in 07, so my guess would have been for call then.
Still, that is a shame that Rollins did not get in. And you have to think, that is the time where voting occurred in the stadium.
I can't pronounce his last name. But Jimmy Rollins, the shortstops were Jose Reyes.
Okay, Jose Reyes was still good at that time.
And then Edgar, I can't pronounce his last name, Renteria.
Edgar Renteria?
Edgar Renteria.
Yeah. So I mean, and the starting shortstops in the AL were Jeter, Miguel Tejada, and Michael Young.
Okay.
So I mean,
I will say at that time, were you guys old enough to go to the games and remember how the All-Star voting worked back then?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How you had to get the sheet and punch out the holes for who you wanted to vote in and then drop the ballot in.
Yep.
I love that format. I absolutely loved going to just random games all the time and picking out 5 ballots and just.
I go to minor league games, just get one of those ballots and fill it out for fun. I wouldn't.
Oh yeah.
They got to
every time, 4 or 5 times a year.
They got to bring that back in the major leagues.
You should be able to do both online. I know it's easier for people. They don't have to hassle, but nothing beats the IRL voting. Just poking out holes.
And now, a word from our sponsors. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Yeah, so let's just say that happened. Or even back then, we would have to look at the populations to see how many people from New York just voted for Jeter because they knew his name. They actually looked at the stats from the first half of the season that year. They would realize that Rollins was a better option.
The Phillies were so disrespected in All-Star games back then.
Oh my God, it was unreal.
Ryan Howard should have been in every year, but the fact that he had Albert Pujols in front of him every year is also a factor.
Pujols was a Cardinal. I think the only one who didn't get robbed all the time was Utley. Because who was the second baseman in the league at that time? I know Utley was one of the top, from 06.
It was Dan Ugla.
Oh my God, of course it was.
He was on the Marlins.
Yeah, I remember Dan Ugla was a Marlin. But yeah, it's going to be a shame. I think Utley's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I think he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah.
Should be, but I don't think he does get in.
Depending on who's the class that he's in with.
Well, he he retired.
He retired in 2018.
Yeah, so he's got a couple more years to
4
go.
years from now.
The 2020. Listen, the guy he had 259 home runs, batted 275, on base was 358. Is he gonna get in? Probably not first ballot. He'll probably get in maybe second or third. That whole group will probably get in. If that not the whole group. Jimmy Rollins will get in.
First ballot.
Ryan Howard will probably not get in. Shane Victorino probably will not get in.
Carlos Ruiz?
So
No.
probably not get in.
He's a Phillies Wall of Famer, though, at best.
Yeah. All those guys are Phillies Hall of Famers. They're just not actual, and they're not MLB Hall of Famers.
Right. I think Jimmy Rollins is definitely going to get in. I think Utley will be like second or third ballot. But I think for Howard, honestly, the class would have to be really bad for him to get in.
He might have to wait till like 6 or 7, depending on who he's with.
That's right.
I mean,
who?
Next first baseman, I think who goes first ballot is probably Big Papi.
For sure.
And he might go unanimous. I don't know. It might be a hot take that he might go unanimous, but
No, he's not going unanimous. I don't think so. Because
because you're going to vote no for him?
No,
you're going to be an analyst at that time, and you're going to be the one Yankees fan who votes no for him?
He's also connected to steroids. People have always assumed that he was on steroids.
Assumed, never proven.
Listen, he will not get unanimous. I think the only next player to get unanimous will be Mike Trout. Will be the next player to get unanimous.
We're going to wait that long for somebody else to get unanimous?
Ichiro
will be unanimous.
Ichiro or Pujols.
Player gets
Pujols was connected to steroids too.
Pujols won't.
Again, not
Pujols is borderline. Yeah, Pujols is borderline.
That we're having this conversation.
Borderline.
Pujols will.
He got 675 home runs.
No, he was not borderline Hall of Fame. Borderline steroid proven.
I was about to say Pujols hits 600 home runs and has 3,000 hits.
Yeah, he's first ballot automatically.
But the problem is the fact that we're even having this conversation about who's unanimous. The guys, this should have been said way back in the day. Roof should have been unanimous. Koufax should have been unanimous. Whitey Ford should have been unanimous.
Griffey Jr. should have been unanimous.
Griffey Jr. should have been unanimous. All these guys.
Mariano Rivera should not have been unanimous. I get it. He was a good closer. Do I think he was the best closer of all time? No.
You don't think he was the greatest closer of all time?
No.
Who do you think's the greatest closer of all time?
He's just saying this. He's
He's up there.
You have to be just saying this. You have to be just saying this.
You have to go back.
No, he's just saying this. There's no way you have to.
Do not tell me that Lee Smith is the greatest closer of all time.
Stop.
Yeah, more men have.
No, Jason, Kyle, do not fall in this trap. He's just saying this just to get under my skin.
No, I will say Mariano Rivera was the best closer of all time. I just don't think he should have been unanimous. I don't see it.
Number 42 of pride.
Okay, all right. I want to hear Kyle's point, and then I have to make a point real quick. Go ahead, Kyle.
More men have walked on the surface of the moon than scored off Mo Rivera in the postseason.
And then my response to that is that Larry Fitzgerald has more tackles than drop passes in his career, and he's not going to be unanimous.
That doesn't matter in the NFL.
Having more tackles than drop passes in his whole career?
As a
wide receiver, too, who's played, 17, 18 years now?
And he's still at the top of his game.
It's the NFL Hall of Fame. It's just either you're in or you're not in. That's what it is in the NFL. There's no voting percentage thinking kebobber.
So he should be. If they did have a procedure like that, he'd be Hall of Fame.
He would be. 100% Larry Fitzgerald would be.
I think if they had a procedure like that, then they would probably waive the waiting period for Brady. That's what I think.
Yeah.
But I think, Larry Fitzgerald would definitely be unanimous to me.
See, unanimous. Griffey should have been the first one unanimous. That's what I would say.
Wrong. The first one was Dave Ruth or Ty Cobb.
Okay, but in recent days, they should have.
Yes, Griffey
should have been honored.
Yes,
maybe. What did Mike Piazza finish with? Did he finish with 90 at least too?
No,
because I know
he took 3 or 4 years to get in.
Yeah, it took him a little bit.
Modern era. These players should have got unanimous.
Piazza,
Griffey, Ripken, Jeter, Mariano. Those four.
What was that, Noah?
That's
that a dog?
his dogs. Those 4 guys probably should have got in unanimous. I'm sure I'm missing somebody else. And Trout and Ichiro. Those 6 are guys who I think in modern era should be unanimous. 100%.
Piazza.
Of course, you name half the people you name are Yankees.
No.
Piazza got 4th ballot with 82% of the vote.
Okay, yeah.
That's pretty low for him.
That was low for him at the time, like he was the future of New York. Oh, hold on.
I mean, listen, Piazza was a great Met. He was a great player. But yeah, I think that, it's any Hall of Fame, it's hard to get into. The fact that we're having this conversation, I think all 4 of us probably agree that the MLB Hall of Fame is probably the hardest one to get into.
No doubt.
I would say.
No, it is. It definitely is.
But they're all hard to get into. But I'd say MLB is probably the hardest to get in.
Easiest is the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Basketball Hall of Fame, you win a ring, you're in.
Basically, yeah. All you need to do is win a Finals MVP, basically.
And your team's in, basically, so you're in, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know who's in? Stockton.
Stockton is in the Hall of Fame. You're right.
Yeah.
He's a good player.
Stockton was probably a top 5 player.
He was not a top 5 player.
I mean, Shaq was the most dominant player of all time. I don't care.
That's true, but he wasn't, to me, he's not the greatest player.
Jason.
What's up?
Wasn't it supposed to be a baseball?
I'll bring it back to baseball. Okay.
What else do we want to touch on with baseball?
So next year is Billy Wagner's 6th year on the ballot. You think he gets in next year?
Based off who's on the ballot now, he could.
I mean, right now, there's some big names on there, but like Scott Rowland's on the ballot, Omar Vizquel's on the ballot, Sheffield, Todd Helton, Manny Ramirez.
How long? 8 years now? This is 8 years now for Scott Rowland?
Scott Rowland is the 4th.
4.
Yeah. Jeff Kent's is the 8th.
Gary Sheffield's on 7.
Sheffield's on 7 with 30%. I think maybe he might be 10th ballot.
Todd Helton, I'm surprised he's not voted in yet.
Well, that's just because of the class this year was going to be tough.
And the fact that he played in Colorado, I guess.
Yeah, people love to hate on Colorado for that's the only reason that Arenado didn't win the MVP in 2018.
And that it took Larry Walker 10 tries to get in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I loved watching Larry Walker. Oh my God, that guy could hit a baseball.
However, Bobby Abreu is still there.
Rockies teams could have been so much better if they'd just gotten better pitching.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, I know.
Those teams in the 2000s, they just needed pitching.
Yeah. I mean, that was our big concern in the 07 World Series when we got swept. We didn't have pitching. And who was on the Red Sox at the time? Schilling? Who else were the starters there at the time?
Hey, was Pedro on that team?
I think so.
Pedro was on the Mets at that time.
Was he? I know Pedro was there in 04, right? When they reverse swept the Yankees.
Yeah, that was his last year with the Red Sox.
Yeah, I remember Pedro there.
Bro, Pedro was so filthy in his prime.
Oh, my God. Have you guys ever watched, there's a ESPN special about Pedro and, like, that playoffs, like, that series, or not that series, but, I have to find it again. It's a great, episode. I'll try to pull it up for you guys. But it's about Pedro and, like, pitching in that series and how, like, he said he wasn't losing that game when he came in.
Definitely not.
No.
Pedro might be a top 10 pitcher of all time, too.
I think he is. For me, he is.
Absolutely.
It's a shame the Phillies got him at, like, the last year of his career.
The Phillies always seem to get pitchers at the last point of their career, like, before they come bad.
They always get people at the tail end.
Papelbon was a sham when he went to Philly.
I was so excited when we got Papelbon.
He was so good on the Red Sox, and then just
he crapped the bed on the Phillies.
Oh wait, yeah. In 2007, didn't the Red Sox have Daisuke Matsuzaka too?
Oh yeah, they did. I remember.
Daisuke and Wakefield.
Oh, the knuckleballer.
Yeah.
Like, Tim Wakefield probably had the filthiest knuckleball of all time. Him or Necro.
Definitely him and Necro.
Him and R.A. Dickey's knuckleball was good, too.
R.A. Dickey's moved a lot.
Bro,
I think that was R.A. Dickey's biggest problem, was it moved too much.
R.A. Dickey...
And he threw it like 80 miles an hour.
R.A. Dickey revived his career by learning the knuckleball. Like he was 30
for like 2 years.
He was like 36 when he won the Cy Young Award.
That is unreal.
Just because he learned the knuckleball.
He's got to be the oldest like age player to win a Cy Young, right? 36. Or wait, didn't Nolan Ryan win it when he was like?
Nolan Ryan never won a Cy Young Award.
He didn't.
He never won one. That's impossible. He's never won one.
That is a shame.
He's pitched 7 career no-hitters, holds the record for strikeouts, but he never won a Cy Young Award.
If we want to talk about, like, I don't know if I would put him at number 1 for most dominant pitcher of all time. Because, like, 7 career no-hitters with how fast he threw. And back then when there was, like, no, like, pitch limit, as they would call it nowadays. Like, he would just throw 130 pitches, then pitch 4 days later like it was nothing.
Right.
I saw a thing. Nolan Ryan once threw 18 innings in a game, got no decision, and left with almost 300 pitches.
Yeah. Like, how could your arm survive that?
I would be done after, like, 70 pitches.
I would be on, like 5 months rest after that.
Oh, yeah.
At least.
I was done at, like, 70 pitches when I was, like, 14 throwing. That was my limit.
Yo, I'm going to say this. Do you guys remember how filthy Jake Peavy was on the Padres?
Oh, my God. Like, first 3 years of his career, Jake Peavy was nasty.
I'm reading these Cy Young winners. Jake Peavy, Brandon Webb.
Yeah, Jake Peavy won, what was it, like 2007? 2007, yeah.
And then Tim Lincecum won the next 2.
Yep. Lincecum also was a filthy pitcher at that time. Nobody was able to figure him out because of how far back he came with the ball. Like, he almost touched the mound every time he threw.
Bro, his windup
everywhere.
His windup cost him so many years of his career, though.
Oh, yeah.
Because he threw, like, with so much force, like, in the windup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, PV won a Cy Young. There are some definitely weird Cy Young winners on there. There are some weird ones.
Eric Gagne, 2003.
Eric Gagne
before he became a closer.
Bro, he was a closer. He had 55 saves that year with a 1.20 ERA.
That's unreal.
2-3 record though. Bro, he struck out 137 batters too. As a closer.
You want to talk about nasty? His pitch mix net that year had to be filthy too. I'm pretty sure he had like a 12-6, a sinker, a curveball that was like 70 miles an hour, a four-seam, and I think a cutter or a slider. He had a nasty 5-pitch mix.
He was one of those guys where when you played with him on like 2K, and has the controller where each direction is a pitch.
Pitch, yeah.
Just the whole circle was just so satisfying.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Bro, I'm going to say a name, and I hope you guys know who I'm talking about. Greatest baseball player ever is John Dowd.
Oh, my God.
MVP Baseball 2005.
MVP Baseball 2005 is the greatest baseball video game of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Backyard Baseball.
Pablo Sanchez.
Absolutely. David Ortiz.
Mm-hmm.
Ernie Steele.
Ernie Steele.
Oh, there were some great names in
Paul
that
Del Vecchio.
Who's it? Petey Williams, was it?
I'm looking some up.
Something. I forget his name.
There were definitely some wacky names in that game.
Oh yeah, there were. Keisha Phillips. I remember I used to build a team of just all the MLB stars and Pablo Sanchez, stick him on the mound, and that would be the team.
That's right.
I don't think Barry Zito gets into the Hall of Fame, though. First year ballot, next year, no chance he gets in.
When he was thrown that big contract by the Giants, that was it.
And then he never made anything of it.
Mark Mulder and Tim Hudson.
Mark Mulder.
Arguably the most underrated pitching trio of all time.
Before they got their big contracts.
Yeah.
And then, just cashed in. Kind of like Chris Davis.
Mulder kind of just fell apart, but one what could have been in baseball that I always wonder about is Mark Pryor, if he stayed healthy.
Oh, my God. Mark Pryor
So good on the Cubs.
was so good in his prime.
Another one we just mentioned earlier, Brady Sizemore. What could have been.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fell off the face of the earth for 5 years and shows back up in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Then he ends up on the Phillies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was an Indian, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
was.
was in Cleveland.
Yeah. You know who Maglio Ordonez.
Yo.
Yes.
That was a name I remember.
That Tigers team in 2006.
The Tigers team that should have won that didn't.
Yeah.
Honestly, the 2012 Tigers should have won with that rotation.
And Prince Fielder and Miguel Cabrera.
Fielder.
And Victor Martinez.
Oh, Miggy's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Oh, no doubt.
Triple
Sure.
crown, like,
Oh yeah, he's in. Yeah, he's
Is he unanimous?
nah.
I wouldn't say he's unanimous.
No, because he doesn't have a ring.
Yeah.
That's the only downside I got about him.
Prince Fielder should have been a Hall of Famer
Should have.
if he didn't get hurt.
Him
I feel so bad for how his career ended.
back to the roids though, wasn't he?
No, he wasn't on
No,
steroids.
No, right?
He was just
No,
that.
he was just
He was
fat.
just that big.
Yeah.
But man, when he hit a ball, it flew.
Bro, the
him and
bat.
Dad were just unbelievable.
Bro, the
Prince
bat.
Fielder was also the first player in MLB history to not have the tuck-in jersey unwritten rule apply to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you tuck in your jersey.
Bro,
Youngest player ever to hit 50 home runs in a season, did it at age like 27.
when he swung, the bat was like a toothpick to him. It looked like a
Oh
toothpick.
yeah, it flew off his shoulders and just force.
Mhm.
I wish we had Statcast era when Fielder was.
Oh,
His exit velocity. Oh my
could have
gosh.
been. Boy, yeah.
Yeah.
I
saw
had.
that when sorry to cut you off there.
No, you're good. You're good.
Prince Fielder retired. He had the same exact number of home runs as his dad.
That's right.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
I had a Prince Fielder Milwaukee Brewers jersey when I was younger. Actually, the jerseys I had were that Cubs Derek Lee
Oh my God.
Rick Lee.
and Roy Halladay.
Phillies or Jays.
Mm-hmm. No, Phillies.
Gotcha.
I had a Mike Lieberthal jersey.
Yo,
Oh,
that's
Mike Lee.
a
That
gem.
might show age, but that man.
Very
Legend.
underrated.
Very underrated
Very
catcher.
underrated, yeah.
Another underrated Philly. Again, we mentioned him, Scott Rowland.
Scott Rowland.
Did not realize how unbelievably good he was.
Yeah.
I saw a thing that said the only 3 third basemen in history with 7 Gold Gloves and 7 All-Star games are Mike Schmidt, Brooks Robinson, and Scott Rowland.
Mm-hmm.
And he's on fourth year for the ballot.
It's just a.
He should be getting a lot more votes than he is.
It's
Yeah.
just a shame the way Scott Rowland left the Phillies.
He just
Didn't want to be here. He just didn't want to be here. But I don't blame him at that time because the Phillies weren't that good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, one of my favorites, even though he was a Red Sox, was Trot Nixon.
Trot Nixon.
I had a Trot Nixon jersey, too. Man, I love that thing.
I thought he had the coolest first name ever when I was
Mm-hmm.
Trot
real
Nixon.
little.
What about Kevin Millar when he was on the Red Sox?
Man,
From Intentional Talk.
Intentional Talk is the best baseball show on television right now.
Him and Chris
That
Rose.
and I love High Heat with Chris Russo.
Oh man,
One
Like,
show that you guys got to check out. It's on Netflix. I think it's on Netflix. It's called The Brady Bunch. Not the Brady Bunch. Baseball Bunches. Sorry, baseball. I don't know why the heck I just said it. Baseball Bunches. Check that out on Netflix. It's an old
The Brady
show.
Bunch is not a show about baseball, Kyle.
I thought
That's
you
why
were-
it did have baseball players on it though.
It did have baseball players on it.
That's why we recorded myself as the Baseball Bunches. Check that out.
I thought you were about to say the Brady Bunch. Like I was about to say Kyle. I've seen the Brady
No,
Bunch.
but I do every time. Check out Baseball Bunch. It's a great show. It's like I forget some of the players on, but some of they had like actual players back in the 60s and 70s and 80s where they would teach like little kids how to play baseball. Like I forget some of the guys who were on it, but like Mike Schmidt was on, I think, at one time. Check it out, Baseball Bunches. You'll definitely like it. I believe it's on Netflix.
It does sound good.
Yeah.
All right, I want to run past you guys a few, like I would call it fluke or potential.
Fluke or potential. Okay, let's hear it.
Fluke or potential. First one. Let's see. Luke Voigt, home run leader. Fluke or potential?
Potential.
Potential?
I would say potential.
I would say potential, yeah. No
Jose Abreu, 60 RBIs. RBI leader. Fluke or potential?
potential. He's going to be good.
Potential, yeah.
Yeah, he's so solid.
Especially with that team is going to be very, very solid for years to come.
Oh, the White Sox?
It'll be interesting to see who they bring in as their next manager, though, because they just let Rick Renteria go.
I'll say this right now. Dodgers lose the World Series, Dave Roberts will be the new manager of the Chicago White Sox.
You think he's
coming? That's a hot take.
He's coming across the country?
If they lose the World Series, he'll be the manager of the Chicago White Sox.
Do you think the Dodgers would fire him or would he leave?
He'd leave.
He would quote unquote leave.
Step down.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I could see that.
All right, let's see. Next one here. Wins this season, Zach Davies, San Diego pitcher, fluke or potential?
I'm on the fence about that.
On the fence? I think that's a fluke.
I don't really have a lot of thoughts on that.
I think it's a fluke for the main reason that he didn't play any team on the East Coast. They kind of stuck to the West Coast teams. That's why I think it's a fluke.
That's understandable.
Let's see.
What else you got?
I think I have two more here. Quality starts. Lance Lynn, 10 for this year. Fluke or potential?
Slightly fluke, I would have to say.
Yeah.
Slightly fluke?
Yeah, fluke.
All right, then there's one more I was looking at here. Oh, yeah. Batting average we're looking at here. Donovan Solano from the Giants. 326 batting average this year. 7th overall. Fluke or potential?
Fluke.
We have to go with fluke.
Fluke.
Do you think differently, Noah?
I mean, he played 54 games this year. He only missed 6 games. He did go 62 for 190.
Okay, all right. I can see your point.
I'm on the fence about it, but let's see. In September alone, he was 26 for 80.
Ooh.
So
We'll make what we want with that.
25 in September alone. He could have been. Yeah, he might be the shortstop of the Giants in the future. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Brandon Crawford can't get back to what he was, I think it's going to be Donovan Solano.
That's another name I could see the Phillies going after. Crawford.
Yeah.
I don't see.
I can see that. Maybe.
He's very high risk. He just gets hurt a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what the Phillies need.
My laptop's about to die.
Plus, they have Gene Segura.
Yeah, true.
I agree. I don't know. Gene Segura is just a journeyman.
Yeah.
Basically.
You know who I was really happy to see have a up year this year?
Who?
Will Myers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
I'm so happy he just had a decent year. It made me happy.
He's that guy that if he can't put together another season or two like that, you might find him out of baseball soon. He just hasn't lived up to the hype.
I remember when he was a hyped up prospect.
Yeah.
What was that, like 2012, 2013?
Somewhere in that area, yeah.
James Shields. Big Game James.
Another classic. Do we think that Justin Verlander having Tommy John surgery will likely shorten his career by 1 or 2 years? He's already like 37.
I mean, at this point, I think he's built up a decent enough resume to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Look at his career. So I just don't want it to get to the point where he's trying too hard that it starts to negatively affect him.
Yeah, like health-wise, like in the long term.
Mm-hmm. I think if he goes one more year and has a decent year, then he should just call it then.
Yeah.
Good way to go out.
Yeah.
Because, when you're a pitcher and you're like at that level for so long, then your arm's only going to hold up for so many years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, it wouldn't be not normal for him to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why I still feel so bad for how Prince Fielder had to exit baseball. Mm-hmm. That interview, watching it, still just...
Oh, yeah.
Sad.
Goosebumps. Sad.
Yeah.
Do we want to touch on anything else?
I don't think so. I think we hit on mostly everything.
We hit on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we did. A lot of stuff.
We definitely made it clear that Rollins is better than Jeter. I can tell you that.
Definitely.
You're wrong. Noah, there's no arguments that you have. The only argument you have is if you flip-flop, which is not a...
The other one I have is that he won an MVP.
Jeter has a World Series MVP and 5 rings. If you ask Jimmy Rollins, he said, would you have 5 rings or MVP? He's going to say, I'd rather have 5 rings.
And that's the exact reason why I bring up that if Rollins was a Yankee, he'd be better.
But you don't know if Rollins would be. You
just said it yourself that he would rather 5 rings. So flip them. He gets 5 rings. Jeter gets the MVP. First ballot Hall of Famer Rollins.
Not every team has unlimited money and the best media capital in the world like the New York Yankees.
The Phillies could have spent all the money in the world they wanted to. Either they have a cheap owner.
Hey Kyle, how's your payroll going right now?
The Yankees payroll?
Yeah,
it's one of the highest in Major League Baseball.
You guys are paying Stanton and Judge.
And
millions.
Are you guys in the World Series right now?
No, they're not
exactly.
You're a Rockies fan.
Yeah, we don't have the amount of money you guys do. We just have high altitude.
We
have baseballs that fly out of the stadium. We get people excited for home runs.
The Yankees get people excited. That's why they're worth $5 billion.
You guys
that's why they're not in the playoffs. That's why they're not in the World Series.
The Yankees have that short porch in right field.
Yes,
they have that short porch.
And guess what we've seen in baseball? We've seen what? When they go see in stadiums, they get smaller. Global Life is now smaller. You know why? Because people like the home runs. Listen, you guys all know Sportman. It's all about the money, right? It's about the bid. People want to see home runs. Getting back to your point.
So move every team to Colorado and have them play in Coors Field.
Yeah, I would like get more home runs. That'd be awesome to me.
Yeah.
Jimmy Rollins is not better than Jeter. Your argument,
right, you're wrong.
Your argument is invalid because you can't just switch it. Look at the numbers.
No, if you do switch it's true.
If you do switch it is actually true. It's all about situation.
It's all about being on the Yankees at that point in time.
You don't know how clutch Jimmy Rollins would have been in Jeter's spot.
He would have been clutch.
How do you know?
You see, baseball isn't like that. It's not like basketball or football. It's baseball.
Exactly.
Everyone gets their turn.
Take this guy off the team. It's not like the NBA where you say, I'm going to take LeBron off and I'm not going to put KD in the same spot. Lakers not winning the title if KD is on the Lakers.
But if you take out LeBron and win John Stockton and put John Stockton there, then he's 10-0 in the finals. LeBron's not.
Stockton, he doesn't have finals.
Because he played against Jordan.
Yeah.
LeBron never played against Jordan.
You have Stockton at number 5 on your list. We'll talk about basketball another time.
Yeah, we'll save basketball for another episode.
LeBron never played against Jordan. And that's why Stockton has more credibility than LeBron.
I'm leaving this call. I cannot. You lost your basketball knowledge talk card. You lost your baseball card.
No, I did not lose my baseball one because you're just biased to Derek Jeter.
All right, I know Kyle Newman has a meeting to get to.
It's all good, man.
But I think we should save basketball for another time.
Definitely save basketball on my list of why Shaq's the best and why Stockton's better than
LeBron.
We'll
have a whole nother episode about that. We'll have a whole...
that's going to be a good one.
I think Kyle and Noah should play against each other in one-on-one basketball, and then whoever wins...
I destroyed Noah. You can ask him. We did a free throw contest sophomore year. He said he can make more free throws. He made 2 and I made 7.
No, that's wrong because we only shot 5 free throws. First off,
I made 4. You made 1, I think.
You just said you made 7 out of 5. That's wrong.
You made 4 out of 5 or 7 out of 10. One of those two. Either way, Noah, you're wrong. I'll let it go, Jason. Thank you for joining us on the podcast and exposing Noah even more on his just himself.
I will stand by the statement that if Rollins was a Yankee, he'd be first ballot Hall of Famer with the same exact percentage as Jeter.
We'll leave it there. Kyle,
I'm gonna leave it there.
Kyle O'Keefe, isn't there something you wanted to promote?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right.
I got him rattled.
All right, well, guys, thank you so much for coming on. It's been fun.
Yeah, thank you, Jason.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. We'll definitely have to do this again.
We'll definitely do another episode. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We've been talking for nearly 2 hours.
Oh, good stuff.
Great stuff. All right, guys.
All right, we're about an hour away from first pitch, so that's perfect.
Yep. Awesome.
Go Dodgers.
Good. Honestly, yeah. I want to see them win.
I want to see them win, but I think Blake Snell's got at least 6 strong. Maybe I'm saying he's going to strike out 11.
Yeah,
that's not a
in
good.
6 innings, he's going to strike out 11 because I know some of the lefties are going to struggle since they have not seen Blake Snell yet.
That's a good guess.
And who knows, Mookie Betts might struggle because with lefties, he hasn't been himself this year. But other than that, we'll see how the game goes.
All right, an hour to pitch. So, thank you guys for coming on.
No problem. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, buddy.
Talk to you guys soon.
Yep.
Have a good one.